everybody. Welcome back to Coffee and Headphones. My name is Caleb.
My name is Trevor, and this is a podcast where brothers talk about.
Brother things. Trevor, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, bro. I'm off today. I worked like 30 some hours,
Yeah, you've
36
been working
hours,
crazy, bro. Put in that 12-hour shift the other day.
12, 11, and then another 11. I'm
Sheesh.
exhausted.
Crazy, bro.
But
Hey, money bag moves though.
yeah, got a wedding renewal coming up, so Um, but I'm good, bro. I'm happy that I had the day off. I got to sleep in. I did go into work for like an hour, but we won't talk about that. How's your
Yeah.
day going?
Good, man. I've also had a fairly productive day. I was invited to that wedding renewal, best man vibes, and my suit was delayed at the border or something another. I still don't really know. All I know is I had to pay another customs fee for some reason, and I was not able to get a hold of the courier, the vendor is what I meant to say.
The vendor, yeah.
But eventually I got a hold
That's
of
it.
UPS today and finally got that paid. So my suit is on the way. So that was a huge stress to get off my back. Also got to go and get some food for me and for my dog, all the while finding time to write this list because today we do have the coffee, we do have the headphones, and we are doing our annual, I guess now, because we've done it 2 years in a row, top five album of
Wow.
the year
Let's
podcast.
go.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's go.
I think that's the
Wow.
first like
First
thing we've
annual
done
thing we've done.
twice.
Yeah. Also, I just want to thank everybody that supported us throughout this year. Because actually, apparently, as a podcast that doesn't actually have a topic, we're doing pretty good.
We're doing not
So
too bad.
we appreciate you guys.
Especially with like our inconsistencies in here and all
Mhm.
that stop and go. We really do appreciate
And the ones that are watching the whole podcast, uh, y'all are the real ones.
legend status.
Well, thousands of people watching the shorts, but we got about 40 of you that are pretty religious about the podcast. So thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to start or do you want me to start?
Yeah, I'll start. Let's just go ahead and do a few honorable mentions beforehand. Just for me, here's a few albums that didn't make the list. And you know what? I feel like we should put a disclaimer first. Let's be honest. This was
Rough
not a
year.
good year. Yeah, it was not a
Rough
good
year.
year for music. Last year, I think several albums that didn't make my top five for last year would have made it over albums that made it this year. For me, there was
Yeah.
really few and far between whole cohesive albums that I thought were great. But I'm sure the more we talk about it, the more we'll get into it. So just a few honorable mentions from me first. We'll go ahead and do one that's probably on your list, Drake for All the Dogs. Travis Scott, of course, dropped Utopia, which was highly anticipated. Didn't hit for me. I mean, it had some moments, but as a whole, not anything great. Shout out to Indie Tribe, who put out the Low Blow album. Shout out to Sampha, who finally dropped after a long time of not dropping. And another highly regarded, highly anticipated album was Guts by Olivia Rodrigo. I didn't love it when I first heard it, like it a lot more now. Still missed out on top five for me. I think Vampire was the worst possible single she could have chosen from that. But those are a few honorable mentions for me. Do you have any?
Absolutely not. Um, I have not listened to near enough music this year. It's mostly been rap, and unfortunately, we have
Bad year
had
for rap.
a bad year for rap. So
Drought.
several of those things that Caleb just named will be on my list.
Wow.
But I feel like because it was so bad for rap, I feel like Caleb's gonna get outside of the genre quite a bit,
Yes.
especially since he doesn't have Drake or Travis Scott on there or Indie Tribe. So
Right.
take it away, Caleb.
Yeah, I will say kind of probably like you and I would say a lot of people at least that I've talked to. I've listened to a lot of music this year that I hadn't heard before, but it did not come out in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
That was the majority of my year. Sam
Mm-hmm.
Henshaw's album I missed last year, probably my most played album of the year, except for who I have a number one. But I think that's probably enough disclaimers. I'll just go ahead and go to my number five album, Full Crate, a kid from Yerevan. It's a city in Armenia where he's from. This is an R&B kind of soul album. I really enjoyed it. I didn't think it would make my top five list, but given the competition and how cohesive this is, I did enjoy pretty much every song, which I can't say for many albums this year. So it's going to go in my number five spot. Do you want to take turns? Do you want to go ahead and hit me with your
Yeah,
number five? Okay, let's
yeah,
do
that
that.
works. Um, I made this based off of what I listened to this year. So,
Yes,
uh,
same, same. We're not saying
I
these
did
are like the top five critically acclaimed albums. These are just what we enjoyed the most.
definitely not gonna feel that way about my number five. Shrimp for Life is number five on my list.
I was trying
Uh,
to figure out, pull back the curtain. Trevor texted me before and said I'm gonna hate his list, and I was like, what could that
yeah.
be?
Oh, and that's just the start of it. But I like Ray Sherman, like in general.
Mhm.
I like Sway Lee, I like Jimmy,
Love Sway
but
Lee.
I actually liked the album. It did not mean anything for rap. There was no lyricism on it at all, but it was a very fun listen for me. So that is why it's number five on my list.
Yeah, that's fair. You know, you can't ask for more. Top five, something fun is always valid. For me,
Hmm.
number four, very different than that. This was a beautiful conceptual album that I heard. It was recommended to me from a friend. Uh, this is Diamonds and Freaks by Black Odyssey. What a great album. Like the whole journey, you just feel like you're in that world. It's very dark, very explicit if you are coming from the CHH scene, I will say. uh Tread lightly. But man, this album made me go back and listen to the rest of Black Odyssey's discography. He is not a big artist at all, but he makes some incredible music. And Diamonds and Freaks is definitely one of the best albums
Buddy.
I've heard this year.
Um, that's valid. I have not listened to that album, so I'll definitely have to listen to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh, Number four, I have it written on my hand. Oh, all right. So number four is something that I will stand by, although you and many others may not agree. But I love this man. He's been doing it for years and years and years. As much as he's talked about, he's still rarely on anybody's top five list. But sometimes when I listen to his music, it's amazing. Sometimes I listen and I'm like, my dude may be a little too high. But this album was good. It was a collab album. Welcome to College Grove, Lil Wayne and Two Chains. Like
Wow.
it's 2010, baby.
Yeah. Wow,
Yeah,
that's a late inclusion.
yeah, it is. It is some of the better rap out of like some of the songs. Lil Wayne's lyrics are some of the better rap I've heard this entire year. So it had to make,
Yeah.
and it sounds good. The production was done well. It is like a more upbeat album. It is still talking about the things Two Chains and Lil Wayne always talk about,
Right.
but so like the content maybe not great
Right.
still, but it is a fun album to listen to, and I had to put it on there.
So I don't remember if this was you and me or me and Damon having this conversation. I think it was Damon. But what I said about that project is Lil Wayne is Two Chains. It's fine. I cannot take a whole album of it. So I think I gave it like a six because I did think it was a bit above average, but just for me, like I can't sit through the whole. I think there's over
And
20 songs on there, isn't it?
I will say, yeah, there's probably a bit of nostalgia. You missed this wave a bit,
Yeah,
so for me
I
that
was a
was
bit
like
later. I mean, it was more like Two Chains was in the Pretty Girls Love Trap
mine.
music era,
Mine was like peak Two Chains and Lil Wayne, and also intro to rap for me. It was like right around there.
right?
So, um, yeah, it probably is a bit of nostalgia as well, but
I'm
it
sure.
had to make my list, bro.
Uh,
So, all right,
no, fair.
number three.
Number three for me is I think the only album from early in the year. And this one, when it dropped, I said album of the year early on, and it stayed up there for a while. And listen, I will just take this opportunity to say pretty much the 2 through 5 or 2 through 4 is pretty interchangeable for me. Like there weren't huge differences in this, but the only reason why I'm putting this album number 3 is because it fell off a little bit towards the end, and that is Ray, My 21st Century Blues. Really enjoyed that album. The first 6, 7 songs are absolute bangers. Incredible production, incredible writing. Ray is an artist who is behind a lot of huge songs out there in the pop space and has been for years. She finally received her independence from a record label that was trying to make her something she wasn't, and put out her first full-length album, and this is it. And she talks about a lot of real stuff on there, but does it with like such, I don't know how to really put it into words. Ferocity, maybe is the right word for it. It's really well written and produced and performed. I think everything about it is good, other than the fact that it does fall off a bit in the back half. So that's why I have it on 3. But if you haven't listened to that album, I highly recommend it to everyone. It's really good.
I've listened to most of it.
Hmm.
And I like it for it to be that. It's not like my genre, so I
Right.
like it for it to be that genre,
Right.
100%.
Yeah, I'm sure
So I
everyone's
don't like it
heard.
as much as you and Harley,
Right.
especially that song that you're about to say.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone's heard the Escapism song with 070 Shake. Went crazy on TikTok after it dropped. But that was the
Yeah,
lead off of this, and
that's
there's a
valid.
there's a ton of great songs on there. Yeah.
That's valid. All right, bro. Number three, I do have Low Blow. I have Indie Tribe.
Okay. Shout out the Indie
So
Tribe.
it is, yeah, it's an album that. All right, it's honesty time. Let's be candid. For me, most Christian rap is I don't want to say corny because it's not as corny as it used to be,
Mid.
but mid's a good word for it. Yeah, mid's a good word for it. There's less corny stuff out there, but it's all like the same
Yeah.
in my eyes. And Indie Tribe, I got to go to their concert, their festival in
Mm.
Nashville with Caleb. um, is something that I can listen to and that I enjoy listening to, that I will put on in a playlist. So shout out to them. There's some great lyricism on that album.
Yeah.
Some of the songs go crazy. Y'all should listen if you haven't, even if you're not into Christian rap. It's not really, it's more like alternative rap that
Yeah.
are Christians, sort of like Apex. So
Right.
I would go listen to that. But yeah, that's my number three.
No, that's a great choice. It was very, very close to hitting number 5 for me. Maybe with time it will. The thing that brings it down for me is it's not just a no big deal album, which would have been a lot
Fair.
better. But nah, Indie
Yeah.
Tribe, they're doing their thing, man.
Mikkel went crazy too.
Mikhail
So
did go absolutely crazy. Shout out Mikhail. Love that guy. Yeah, man. Low blow, great. I think you missed the whole like upper hand wave, the first Indie Tribe album.
yeah,
But that was a moment, and I think this one was a little bit less of a moment as far as the actual album, but Smoke as the festival went insane. And I think
it was
that
a
kind of
big,
raises
big
it up.
moment in that, like
Yeah,
in the label,
absolutely.
especially,
Absolutely.
and really for the direction Christian rap as a whole, like the industry is
Yeah.
taking, and people are taking power back from Reach. So I love that. All
Yeah,
right,
for sure. Okay.
go ahead, boss.
Where we at? Number 2?
Number two, yeah,
Okay, number 2 for me, again, interchangeable with 3 and 4 really, but um if you would have asked me to do this a month ago, it probably would have been 3. Today it's 2, and that's Forward by Jordan Ward. Don't have too much to say. It's just one of those
okay,
things where I recommend people go listen. I really enjoy Jordan Ward. He's an artist that I've gotten into quite a bit this year. My favorite song from him is Mustard, which is on the deluxe of this album. And there's some other wonderful songs, Fam Jam, White Crocs, all of that, like really strong alternative R&B vibes if
yeah,
that's your thing. And that's kind of been my
yeah.
most played genre this year. So Jordan Ward, Forward, check it out if you haven't heard it yet.
Could have definitely been in my honorable mentions, I guess. I'll give that one an honorable mention for sure because
Yeah,
I have listened to a decent amount of that album, quite a bit.
there you go.
Solid, bro. So number two and number one are really hard for me. Caleb's gonna know what one of these are. Most of you, if you've been listening, should know what one of these are.
For sure.
Um, I gotta hold out. So number two is Porches by Reason. I don't know if you forgot about it or if you just didn't like it, but that was a great album. And we haven't gotten a lot of Reason in recent years, and that
Right.
was amazing.
I
He killed
yeah.
it. The vibe was good. The
Yeah.
lyricism, the production, the message. It was a great album. I don't know what you're sleeping on over
I
there, sir.
listened to it one time rather late at night.
That'll be why.
Yeah, so maybe I should go back and re-listen. But yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of Reason. You just kind of have to be in that vibe to listen to him. And I think this year for me has been a little bit less focused on that. Like, I do still love and appreciate the world building behind music, hence like the Black Odyssey. But
Hmm.
most of these albums you can dissect and listen like that, or you can listen to casually. Uh, the ones that are in my top five, and I think that is just kind of more where I've been with music recently. And Reason you really can't listen to casually. You know what I mean?
No, and that's why it's the only type of album on there
Yeah,
like that. Because
right,
I've been on the same wave this year. There's been too much going on, so
right.
I've been stressed, bro. So
Life
I
is
just
too
needed some
intense,
music
man.
that I can just vibe with.
Yeah,
But the reason one was sort of thought provoking, and I liked it a lot.
right. Yeah, shout out to Reason, man. Shout out to TDE. He's still with TDE,
Mhm.
right?
I'm 90% sure. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, dog.
All
Who's
right.
your number one?
Yeah, number one for me, I mean, if like we've had conversations about music at all in the past 4 or 5 months. I think everyone that I've talked to, I've mentioned that this is my album of the year, and I'm standing by it. Sunburn by Dominic Fike. This is kind of the epitome of an album that you can listen to casually, and they have a lot of bangers behind it. Or you can dissect the lyrics a little bit more, and you see like there's some real trauma and real pain being expressed here, talking about growing up broke, growing up in Section 8, and accidentally getting famous, being arrested when you sign your record deal, not being able to capitalize, coming back and trying to build it up again, and then kind of like hating the fame and that spotlight. And you know, like you and I, some of our favorite artists talk about that all the time. Cole, Kendrick, Bellion, like that's the thing that I respect more than most things whenever an artist talks about it is just kind of how deceiving the limelight is. So that whole album for me, being able to look at that on a grand scale and then also a little bit more personable. I think 4x4 is one of the best songs I've heard in years. Dark is a great song. There's so many great songs on there. The production, the mixing, the originality is really what does it for me. And I think that Sunburn is going to be an album that I'm listening to 10 years from now and still love. So, Sunburn,
Yes,
Dominant
sir.
Fight, number one for me.
All right. Well then, I was waiting for that one. I knew that was going to be number one since it wasn't number two, three, four, or five. It is a good album. It's not my vibe, so it did not make my top five. But some songs on there I really do like too.
Hmm.
All right, my number one, huge surprise. It's for all the dogs, Scary Hours edition by
Yeah.
Drake. Um, let's be honest. This is the best Drake album, best Drake project we've gotten in the past 4 years,
Yeah, probably in the last 6 years.
five, six. Yeah, I mean, it was really, really good. And I'm always a little bit more heavy on it than other people, but
Pause.
I think we oh, buddy, why did you do that to me? Now I'm not gonna be able to talk.
Could not.
Um, I think we got a good mix of the progression that Drake's made in his career and old school Drake. And as I've talked about with you and with Jaden and with Joel and a few other people, a couple of the songs on there were definitely not made in the past 3, 4 years.
No, no.
Especially
Especially, oh, go ahead.
no, especially I feel like first person shooter was definitely made like around the time Middle Child came out. And then the like Evil Ways, I feel like that's like deep in the archives that they just pulled out. So I had to include Scary Hours edition, but Drew Picasso, 8 a.m. in Charlotte, um, Evil Ways, of course. Virginia Beach has been that's gotten a hold on me for sure. I could not stop singing that song. So
Bro loves the off-key singing in the beginning.
I love it so much. I'm not even gonna hold you.
Hey, listen, man. For all the dogs, especially Scary Hours edition, easily the best Drake thing since More Life has dropped. Do not get me wrong. That was definitely in my honorable mentions. I it still lacked a lot for me just in terms of actual content. Like he wasn't really saying much except the Scary Hours edition. I feel like was I think he went 6 for 6 to be honest there, and that almost pushed it to number 5 for me. But I knew that you were going to show it enough love, and I wanted to kind of cover more bases with that. So maybe as time progresses, I'll listen to it a little bit more, which typically happens with Drake albums, except for the last maybe 3 projects he's dropped. Going back to CLB. But yeah, man, for all the dogs, Scary Hours edition especially, really solid stuff. You have to be satisfied as a Drake fan. This is something I've said though several times since it like do people still listen to it more than a couple songs here or there? Because I haven't as an
I do.
album. I haven't listened to it as an album since like the week after it came out.
So I think with people like you who are bougie music people,
Wow.
uh
Could have just said
y'all
music
get
people.
y'all get spoiled with music and with all Drake's done, and you get tired of it because there's so much content out there. But if you do re-listen to this album like I do, you have a good understanding that some of those bars on there are better than anything on If You're Reading This Is Too Late. And I said that. So go
Sheesh.
ahead,
Drop one,
go
back it
ahead,
up.
go
Well,
ahead and
give me
re-listen to it.
examples.
Go ahead and re-listen to it.
Waffling, and he knew it as soon as it came out of his mouth. He went,
Go ahead and re-listen to it and tell me I'm wrong.
I don't have to re-listen to it to tell you you're wrong. If you're reading this is too late, man. Really? That one? You said that one? Bro didn't say
Yeah.
views or more life or Scorpion. He went straight for the best rap Drake has ever done.
So
Okay.
what I said.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
So, it's too
You
late
said it.
now.
We're clipping that.
That's what we blow up off of for sure. I mean, for the year that it's been, that was pretty solid.
For the year that it's been, and it's not been a great year for music by any means, we were able to gather some solid albums. I feel like this year was just fine for music, but it also gave me more opportunity to listen to stuff that I've missed in the past
Yeah.
few years. And even like older, like I got into 90s R&B more this year than I've ever listened to. And that would not have happened if we got Kendrick or Cole or Bellion this year. Also, if Quinn's album was good, that probably wouldn't have happened. Anyway, I just want to say sorry about no pod last week. We did record a banger start bench cut, but we had severe technical issues all throughout the recording. So I've
Yeah.
tried to salvage that into shorts. So be sure to follow our social media because I'll be dropping those. We have like 8 or 9 scheduled to come out over the next week, so just pay attention to that. But yeah, hopefully this one was enjoyable for you. I love when we get to talk about music and do stuff like this. I love these kind of videos. They're kind of why we started this, you know? Trevor, is there anything you like to say to the people?
Go Nuggets.
Go Nuggets. Yeah, go Nuggets, go Magic. Whoo. And we'll see you back soon. Peace.
Peace. Love it.